Yeah, so check this out. I went to a doctor for an examination, for my skin. I get ingrown hair whenever I shave my skin, right? And the guy looks at my name and says, Ephraim, you're Jewish. I was like, huh? I was like, hell no, I'm Nigerian. What are you talking about? And then this guy, mind you, this guy is Jewish. White guy, Jewish, a whole 9 yards. The guy looks at me and goes, you're from Nigeria? The Igbo tribe? Like, I'm taken back and I'm like, how do you know that? Yes. It's like, yes, so you are Jewish. I'm like, no, I'm Igbo. This man looks at me and says, the Igbo tribe migrated from Egypt, which before that, they migrated from Jerusalem when the Romans dispersed the Jews. So your entire bloodline is Jewish. I was like, what are you on? What you smoking? I'm out here looking at the doctor like this man is smoking something. And then I was like, okay, tell you what, I'm just going to go with it and I'm going to ask my mom later, right? So I called my mom. I was like, hey, Mom. So I just got out the doctor's office and this man looked me in the face. I was like, yo, you guys are all Jewish. My mom was like, yeah, you didn't know that? I was like, huh? How am I supposed to know that? Mind you, we're Christians, right? We're Igbo and all of this. And this woman is like, yeah, our entire tribe is Jewish. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And then I started doing my own research. And turns out my name, Ephraim, is the name of an actual Jewish tribe, which is under the tribe of Joseph. Funny enough, my grandfather's name is Joseph. So I'm just mad. I'm like, yo, why didn't you guys none of you guys told me this? And I have strangers now telling me my own lineage. I didn't know what to do with this information. So now I got a whole rabbit hole I have to jump through later just to find out where all of us really came from. Like, this is crazy. I spent all night studying and I found a lot of stuff that I didn't even know existed. So I'm just going to dive right into it. I believe the first question somebody asked was why the Igbo Jews migrated and left Egypt. And somewhere around, I believe, 1200 BC, the Turkic armies attacked Egypt. The Turkic, I believe, are the ancestors of modern-day Arabs. They attacked Egypt, enslaving most of the Igbo Jews that lived there, most of the settlers of Egypt at that time, forcing a lot of people to flee. And one of those people were the Igbos. And we started migrating down southwest of the continent. And a lot of people were settling on those roads along the way. But ultimately, we ended up where we call Igbo land today. And a lot of you who study history would know that the first empire of the Igbos is called the Nri Empire. I didn't even know this, I just found out. The Nri Empire had a leadership structure where they had a priest-president type leader who was a direct lineage to God. Funny enough, it almost seems like it was mimicking the Egyptian pharaoh dynamic where the pharaoh was a direct lineage to God. The difference here is once the Nri Empire was established, they made it a point of focus that all the oppressed people come live in this land. If you were a slave and you ended up in Igbo land, you automatically became free. I think they were trying to harp on the fact that everywhere Jews went, they have always been oppressed and kicked out of their land. So anybody who arrived in Igbo land was automatically free, and they harped on promoting human rights and harmony amongst their neighbors. And funny enough, I started looking at the language, and it seems like most of our languages are actually similar. Like, for instance, Allah in Igbo means land. That's the same exact word for land in Egyptian language. Like Miri, water, the same thing. Nado or Mado, which means person, the same thing. Most of our languages are eerily similar to theirs, which I didn't even know this until I started looking. Now, the religious practices is I started looking at, okay, what did the Jews practice? and some of their belief system. The mourning of 7 days after somebody dies, you have to mourn. The Igbos do that as well. The period of circumcision after a male is born, the Igbos do the same thing as well. Practices, cultural rites, all of that. It seems almost like a mirror of itself. And I started looking at some of the other things that they might have taken from Egypt when they left. And some of the cultures and some of the tribes in Igbo land have a pantheon of gods, the same way that the Egyptians did. And then they have a main god, which is called Chukwu, which is the head god, just like the Egyptians had Ra, where all the other gods fall underneath them. And if you look at the Yorubas, on the other side of Nigeria, their piercings, their tattoos, their practices are eerily similar to the Egyptians as well, which makes me think that once that migration happened, most people kept their Jewish practices. Most people harped more on the Egyptian practices. And also, there seems to be some sort of bleed over of that Arab takeover in some of the traditions that I found during my research. And there's a lot that I want to talk about, and I don't want to make this video too long. I'm going to address some other questions that I saw in that last video and this upcoming video. Just stay tuned. I learned a lot.